So I recently saw a video on Kate Smurfette's channel discussing how women are more likely to get cancer than men are. And you will never guess whose fault it is.
Kate, it's lifestyle that's responsible for this increase. I mean, how does that make you feel?
Well, kind of not surprised, really. If you look at what is going on out there, from Trump to Brexit, the pay gap's not getting smaller, the domestic violence rate isn't falling, the rape conviction rate isn't going up. Frankly, once I've been through that, I could do with a gin and tonic.
Now, if you haven't seen Smurfette before, this is kind of her thing. She hears statistics and shares TV time with scientists, and somehow manages to get it round to either the oppression of women or, more commonly, herself. So we've already seen the poor little woman bit. I wonder how long it's going to take for her to force the topic onto herself.
Pretty much not surprised to hear that women are drinking more. And we should also remember that historically, a lot of the reasons why women were drinking less was because they didn't have so much money, they were trapped in the home.
Trapped in the home? Yeah, they were trapped in the home, whilst men were trapped down the pit. And they were trapped in the trenches. And they were trapped on the front line. And they were trapped on a sinking fucking Titanic. Yeah, women are so hard done by. What men used to do, actually, I don't know if you know this, they used to barricade the doors whenever they left the house. And by the time they got back from work, the woman was there sitting in a pile of her own shit, crying in the corner. That is what happened. That is fact-checked.
And because culturally women didn't feel able to go out to bars and whatever, it was not seen as a safe or sensible thing for women to do. So when we say women are getting more health problems related to alcohol, we should be aware that they also have the freedom to go and drink alcohol when perhaps they didn't so much. It's like saying there's very few hang gliding injuries in prison. Well, that's not a reason to put everybody in prison so they won't have hang gliding injuries. It's a reason to make sure that people are aware of the dangers and they know what choices they're making.
Right, so women are stupid and aren't aware of the choices they're making now. I thought you were meant to be the feminist. And on a side note, just listen to how fucking fast she speaks. She barely breathes. Baring pointed this out on one of his videos and he's spot on. She talks like this really fast because she's terrified that someone else might get a fucking word in and interrupt her while she's dictating her fucking memoirs to us. If it's difficult to know when to interject with a fucking cartoon wolf, then that's when you know someone's got a really hard case of the won't shut the fuck ups.
But we should also bear in mind, as the other guest said, that men still get 16% more cancer than women, and in fact men die 40% more often from cancer than women do in the UK. So although women are catching up faster, it's actually sort of sexist almost to talk about cancer as being a women's issue, because it's actually, looking at the numbers, it's a men's issue, and we know there's various issues going there, and one really big one is the not going to the doctor's business. Guys sat on the sofa, they know there's a lump where they don't think there ought to be a lump, and rather than showing it to their friendly family doctor, they sit there and scratch it and have another beer and try to pretend it doesn't exist.
See? And why is it that it's sexist to talk about women's issues in cancer, but it isn't sexist to say that a man just sits around scratching himself and drinking beer all day? Do you get the feeling that she's a tiny bit biased? Because my spidey senses are tingling and I reckon she's a tiny bit biased.
And I think there's a really important message for everybody, really, that is, if you're worried about anything, make sure you get some attention on the issue.
Dr. Peter Rice, are we talking about cancers that are peculiar to women, cancers that are specific to women, i.e. breast cancer, ovarian cancer? Is that the area, or is it cancer across the board?
This guy goes on a bit, so I've edited some bits out so we can get to the good stuff. The original video's in the description if you want to have a look.
So yes, it's cancers across the board that affect both genders, liver cancer, bowel cancer, cancer of the mouth, cancer of the throat. But breast cancer, I think the recognition of the association is a relatively new finding. Maybe the last 10 years or so, really, our awareness of that's been increasing. So that, if you like, has been the new bit of information that I think women need to take on board, that if they're looking to reduce their cancer risk, in particular breast cancer risk, paying attention to their alcohol consumption should be part of that.
And Kate, what would your advice be to young women, women of any age? Would it be to not drink and not smoke? Or do you think that is patronising, as you were sort of alluding to a little bit earlier?
No, I think that what we can't do is kind of just tell people, well, you shouldn't do this. When it comes to smoking, we all know that telling people not to smoke it has some impact, but what's much more significant is things like, banning smoking in indoor spaces, all this kind of stuff. And I think actually we could be looking at some of the same measures when it comes to Britain's obesity crisis for men and women. Personally, I love to play sport, and a lot of the time I can't because it's so expensive,
And there we go. Well, I did warn you that she'd get the issue onto herself at some point. She just skimmed over the actual question, and now we have to hear more from the memoirs of Smurfette. Enjoy it, cunts. Sharp intake of breath. And... go!
Gym memberships, joining a sports club. There's a real lack of funding, especially for women's sports a lot of the time. I think there's a lot that we could do.
You can go and run outside, Kate. You can run outside. That's free.
That's a wonderful suggestion. If you'd like to come round my area and stop dozens of men from whistling at me, harassing me, bothering me, trying to block my path and get in my way, I would love to go running, but it's really a very unpleasant experience, actually, and I'm glad some women have found a space they can do it in, and good luck to them and whatever, but I gave up running years ago because I just couldn't...
Jesus Christ, what a fucking nutcase she is. Dozens of men whistle at her, bother her, harass her and try to block her path. Bullshit they do. I bet something happened to her once, if that, and now she's sworn off jogging and sport because it means she can accrue a boatload of victim points. If you're jogging, why not just jog past them? Are you jogging down 2-foot wide alleys or something?
And I'm not the sort of person who can just jog past and not respond. So all that happened was I ended up in a large number of possibly quite good, calorie-burning arguments with men outside building sites and cafes. So,
well, exactly. Like I just said, keep moving and ignore them. There's a lot of dickheads out there, especially when we include the fictional ones outside building sites and cafes that you're talking about. If you want to go for a jog, then jog. And if some cunt says something, then you can ignore them. The fact that you choose not to doesn't make you a victim.
There's just an attitude out there that needs to be challenged about women taking part in sport. And when I travel up and down the country doing comedy, so often I'm at the motorway services and I see big groups of guys come in with their matching shirts and they're obviously off on the road playing sport of some kind. And I think, it would be great if I saw more groups of women doing the same thing, for social reasons, for bonding reasons, for fun reasons, but also because it's so great for your health to be a part of that.
I think we need to get you some good noise reduction headphones so you can go out jogging.
A very good point there. Why not just put headphones in? You're full of shit, Smurfette, and I don't know how you have the balls to upload this crap onto your channel and expect everyone to take it seriously. And it's thanks to you that I've learned absolutely fuck all about cancer and how to prevent it. So I'm off down the local building site to catcall some joggers. I'll see you later.